Oh, how's it going? So Kurt Angle, without a doubt, is like one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. And growing up, I remember seeing the huge difference between him and WWE and him and TNA. In WWE, my boy was a little more tame. He had a couple moonsaults here, a couple crazy stunts over there. It was like, okay, cool. I was personally happy. He has a broken neck. And so when he debuted in TNA, it was as if the dog was off the leash. My guy started going insane. He told Jeff Hardy, "Hold my beer, bro. If you think you're crazy, I got this." He started doing a front flip off the stage. He started doing a back flip off the cage. I was just in awe of it all. And it turns out there's a whole story behind why he was going so off the rails. And Marky D here is going to help us figure out why. So let's get it.
Man! Alright, shove it, squad. I got another big one for you today, and I'm not talking about the Hawk's genitals. Recently on YouTube, Perc Angle videos have gained popularity, and people are starting to pay a bit more attention to the TNA run of Kurt Angle. It makes me want to punch a brick when I see that people slept on Kurt's TNA run. If you were one of those people that missed it, it means you literally missed 10 years of his career. And it wasn't like he was doing nothing. He was having some of the best matches of his life during this time, all whilst being on a perk. Now, when we say Perc Angle, people are of course referring to the time period in TNA between 2007 and 2013 when he was sipping on a dangerous cocktail each night. The cocktail was Somas, Xanax and alcohol. Try and ordering that in your local pub. In 2013, he actually got help and went into rehab. So I'm sure that there's many of you like me that are watching that are grateful of how much of a wrestling machine Kurt Angle was during our childhoods. He gave us some of our most memorable moments in wrestling.
Oh yeah, definitely.
One thing that's making this video has taught me is Kurt Angle really loves cage matches. I'd be interested to see if anyone else had more cage matches than him. Maybe this should have been part of his gimmick that was hyped up. So today's video will show you what matches and storylines Kurt was having whilst he was at his worst.
Abyss was
and
not
of
ready.
course his craziest moments. If I missed anything out, I'm sorry. He was literally on TV every week for the entire 6-year period we're looking at today. This video took ages to make, so shut up or I'll smack you one. If you could all do me a quick favour and hit subscribe as we fly to the Graceland of 100k subscribers. And if you say that you won't, I'll rip out your teeth with pliers. Okay, let's see how he...
Okay, before we go into it a little more. Yo, when he debuted, if I remember correctly, he debuted and Samoa Joe was in the ring doing a promo and he debuted and he headbutted Samoa Joe. It was so hype, bro, because out of nowhere, you just in the back of the screen, you just see Samoa Joe come up with a bloody forehead and with this menacing face, bro. It was amazing, bro. I was geeking when I saw that, bro. I was so geeky when I saw it. I love Kurt Angle's debut in TNA. It was so masterclass.
He got the nickname Perc Angle. Kurt Angle battled addiction through the majority of his wrestling career, with most of his addiction problems leading back to when Angle broke his neck 4 times in the WWE.
Oh wow,
Whilst in the
4
WWE,
times?
popped
That's
up
crazy.
65 Vicodin a day.
How's he walking?
Now, I don't believe we've ever had these perks in God's County, but I think he must have felt like he was walking on clouds. Whilst in the WWE, he didn't really look like he was a drug addict. The final straw came when he broke his neck in a match against The Undertaker in 2006. This must have sent his perk addiction over the edge. Can you imagine how hardcore this man is?
Yeah,
people around here take painkillers for the common cold. This man broke his neck a total of 5 times. Unfortunately, it's almost impossible to live a normal life after those kinds of injuries. Kurt's professional relationship with Vince McMahon completely fell apart and Kurt could no longer work the difficult full-time WWE schedule. Vince wanted to help him, but Kurt wasn't ready for help and wanted to do things his own way. He left the WWE in August 2006 and worked hard to beat his perk addiction on his own. By his own accounts, when he debuted in TNA on October 19, 2006,
yep, there we go.
Oh
my God,
Vince
bro.
Russo recalls meeting Kurt for the...
Like I said, it was so hype seeing this, man. Oh, bro, my heart was like out my chest watching this. It was so hype, especially because Samoa Joe, bro. I love Samoa Joe too. Though, like he's like on my top 10 favorite wrestlers also. So that's not
the first time in TNA where he was going through such bad withdrawals that he was shaking uncontrollably. Russo was left wondering how much longer Kurt Angle could live for. Certainly something we all discussed back then. He had a good time in TNA to start out with and he looked forward to working with Joe and AJ. His feud with Samoa Joe especially is one of the best rated in TNA's existence. You could honestly make an entire video about that on its own, but we're not here to talk about that, so
what is he wearing?
Smack you one. Now, it's hard to pinpoint exactly where he became Perc Angle in TNA. I like to think it's when he started acting like a comedy Kurt Angle for the WWE, but way more nuts. It was sometime in 2007. They actually had an entire TNA show dedicated to someone stealing Kurt Angle's clothes and titles, and he went around the building beating people up in his underwear. It
Oh,
sounds like how
Shark
I was
Boy.
treated in
What
primary
a
school.
what a nostalgia
His
hit right there.
craziness led to him visiting a psychiatrist who was Kevin Nash. But something happened in the summer of 2007 that got us even nearer to Perc Angle. His wife at the time, Karen Angle, joined TNA, and these two were going for a lot of relationship problems in real life. Their real life problems were turned into a storyline, and man, did this feature a lot of wackiness. Kurt bullied both Karen and his daughter, calling them both fatties, whilst at the same time carrying the TNA heavyweight title and the IWGP heavyweight title.
Damn,
Karen, the liposuction can wait. Okay, the cottage cheese is gonna be there by Tuesday. No ifs, ands, or buts, especially your big butt. Don't let the door hit you way out. Like you could miss that caboose. Choo choo.
Hey
This
man, you
led
can't
to
hate
Karen
the
telling
caboose,
Kurt
bro.
she wanted
Don't
a
be hating
divorce
on the
in
caboose.
storyline, and she sided with Samoan Joe.
Damn.
Kurt walked around the impact zone fake crying and hugging JB. It was completely stupid. This was a man who was the top spot in the company.
It was
In
comedic
fact, he
though.
sat in
I was
Dr.
laughing.
Nash's office bawling his eyes out. It was funny, but I'm not sure this champion should be acting like this.
I feel that. I feel that.
He took everything from me. He took my marriage. He took my livelihood. He took my manship. He took
My
I
manship.
have this world title. And I have this world title.
There you go. Look at the
and
bright
I have this
side.
tie
Yeah, there you go.
and this shirt. What the hell is wrong with you? You're Kurt Angle. You're perfect. There's nothing wrong with you. It's everybody else.
Yeah.
That's right.
Looking guy either.
Not that that matters.
Pause.
But you, my friend, are perfect. You're Kurt Angle.
Samoa Joe said he's got a surprise guest here tonight. Just
Oh my God! Surprise guest. Get him out of here. He's upsetting me.
With all the gold in TNA on the line at Hard Justice, Karen defied logic and turned on Joe in the match, which led to Kurt holding all the gold at the same time in TNA. This was probably the weakest of their matches, but they had high standards to live up to.
Sick.
Karen started playing a massive bitch character, which started a big feud between Sting and Angle. She claimed Sting hit her, which caused Kurt to go after him. Of course he didn't. Kurt was literally obsessed with Sting hitting his wife. He spent an entire episode of Impact stalking Sting's son, Garrett Borden.
Oh yeah, this
not
was
Bischoff.
he was a true menace in
It
this
ended
part.
with Angle attacking his son. The same month, we have official proof that Angle had slipped back into his bad ways. He picks up a DUI after leaving a bar and nearly crashing his car into a road sign, and he failed a police sobriety test. There's been a lot of different stories of events of what happened here, including that the police officer found him with a bunch of perks hanging out his mouth as he declared that he was innocent.
Damn, bro.
The
Really?
DUI
dude?
was overturned a year later and Kurt was found innocent. But he was obviously up to something. You don't get into these situations if you're completely innocent. Despite that, he still main evented TNA's biggest show of the year, Bound for Glory, against Sting just 2 weeks after. And this is where we see our first Perc Angle offense. During the match with Sting, the heel Kurt Angle completely randomly decided to do a 450 from the top rope. Except he was off balance when he jumped and it botched. But it's the coolest botch I've ever seen,
It
as it
was
looks
still
like a
cool.
450 knee drop, which almost kills the Stinger.
Yeah.
Sting looked like he should have been killed, but he kicked out of the Soma Swanton.
I don't even know how, bro. I would have been my win would have been so gone, bro. I would have looked like a flat pancake. I would have looked like a cartoon character if he would have done that, bro. A 450 with the knees on my chest. Bro. And you weigh like probably like what, 280? I mean not 280, but 210, 215? Nah, bro. You're getting a receipt after this. Definitely, bro. I'm about to give you the hardest elbow you've ever received.
The Stinger then beat him with the death drop and took his world title array after a reign of 119 days. Kurt has since said that he thought moving to a small company would help his addictions, but there were so many old school guys in TNA who liked to drink, and Angle soon became one of them. Kurt literally won the belt back from Sting a week later, but he didn't do any 450s this time. The next week, Kurt was seen crying on TV again because his dad never told him that he loved him. But don't feel too bad
I
for
feel
Kurt,
that.
as he
I feel
started his
that.
own family in TNA, with Tomko and AJ Styles joining him and Karen to form the Angle Alliance. This
Oh,
was
yeah, I
despite both
remember that.
Tomko and AJ also being members of Christian's coalition at the same time. This wacky comedy angle went on for ages. Kurt dressed up as a pilgrim at Thanksgiving and hosted a meal with the TNA locker room. Kurt had the same talent in WWE. No matter what he was doing, no matter how stupid, he
was
still
always
stayed legit and
Yeah,
believable in the ring.
entertaining, bro. Completely.
AJ Styles was another complete idiot this time, and he was desperate to bring Christian and Kurt Angle together as friends. Honestly, the wrestling wasn't great at this time, but it gets better. Anyway, Angle...
Okay, so let's forget this version of AJ Styles. Remember that version where that was in his shorts, that had shorts, you know what I'm saying? He had a short hair, his same haircut, but he was going against Christopher Daniels. He was going against Samoa Joe. We all remember that match right there. That was a true all-time great match, bro. Let's forget about this version, bro. As hilarious as he was, let's not make that, the main point.
Christian kept fighting over who got AJ Styles. Why would either of them want him? He was a complete joke at this point. Yes, I said it. AJ Styles was a joke. It's true, it's true. We had skits of AJ trying to peel bananas with his feet, thinking he was Christian's son, rolling around on desks like a moron, and being the butt of all TNA jokes, almost to Eric Young levels. AJ was given an ultimatum to decide who he was with as Angle and Christian squared off at Final Resolution 2008. Angle actually connected with his first moonsault in this match, but bigger news, AJ Styles revealed that he's with no one. Oops, wrong video. He actually revealed he's with Angle and turned against his father. Good match though. Tomko didn't join the alliance though. The deal here is essentially that AJ chose Kurt over Christian because he wanted to be closer to Karen Angle. Tomko also reluctantly came back on board after a while. Karen Angle was aware of AJ's crush and used her womanly qualities to control him. Kurt called him Prince AJ and gave him a crown.
Really, dude?
Kurt and Karen decided to renew their wedding vows with AJ in audience. When it came to the I-do's, Joe and Nash interrupted the proceedings and beat everyone up. The Padre was knocked down, and when he got up, he accidentally pronounced AJ and Karen man and wife. For some reason, everyone went along with this. How does that even make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
AJ seemed to soften Karen as she actually fell for him. Kurt didn't seem to care about any of this, and he was more interested in the heavyweight title. This wasn't the last TNA love triangle he'd be involved with. Kurt floored her in a match against Nash, but he didn't care about the pain he had caused her and carried on wrestling. He moved back to feuding with Samoa Joe, who was coming for his world title. Kurt told Karen that as long as there's a match between him and Joe, their marriage no longer exists. Now, this match took place at Lockdown 2008 in a cage. This one is famous for drawing a lot of inspiration from MMA. Kurt went as far as...
This one was goofy. This is one of the goofier matches to me, but it was fun to watch. I'm not going to lie.
Having Karen taken away as he didn't want her to distract him. This match isn't for everyone. It's high on submissions and technical stuff. Some people call this Kurt's best TNA match. Either way, he's hitting the Percs hard at this point, and the fact he's pulled off this match tells you how crazy Angle was in the ring.
Maybe I need to rewatch it. I haven't watched this match in like forever. Maybe I need to rewatch it now that I'm a little older, you know. I'm not looking for high stunts or anything like that. I'm just looking for a good storyline within the wrestling. So yeah, I definitely need to rewatch this one.
Joe won the match to capture the heavyweight title and end Angle's run after 180 days.
Okay, first and foremost, Samoa Joe's finisher, the Muscle Buster, is again one of the reasons why he's my all-time favorite. So growing up, I used to watch this anime called Ultimate Muscle. That was my first anime I was ever introduced to. It wasn't Dragon Ball Z or anything like that. It was Ultimate Muscle. And the main character, he used to have the same finisher, but instead of like laying down, he would sit down and crush them and all that. Bro, I was so hyped over that show. And then when I finally saw Samoa Joe do it in real life, that shit lit a spirit in my soul, bro. It lit a fire in my soul, bro. It was great. It was great.
His title gone, Angle decided he wanted his wife back. He confessed she'd kicked him out. Kurt's sincerity didn't last as he screamed at her and called her a prostitute, with Prince AJ making the save. Angle tried again the next week to win her back, but still failed, so of course this is all leading to an AJ vs Kurt pay-per-view match. And this match was at Slammiversary 2008, and it was great. In the match, Kurt put Styles over, but more importantly, he helped AJ ditch the comedy routine and become a wrestler to be taken seriously for the first time in a long time. But this feud is not done. They had lots of matches over the next 2 months.
God,
by far the best is at Hard Justice 2008.
Phenomenal.
The two squared off in a last man standing match. Here's a little factoid for you. The senton off the ramp happened with AJ in this match first, before the Abyss one.
Oh, really?
Angle's nuts for doing it, though. AJ wins their clash again with probably the most devastating DDT I've ever seen from the top rope. Crazy to do that on someone with a history of neck problems like Angle.
That's true.
Now, what I haven't touched on is...
But it gives it a little, that extra spice it needs to make it more believable if he gets counted out. Because you're like, oh my God, Kurt Angle's neck. Holy shit. Right? And so, yeah, it gives that extra spice for that
something
finish.
That some people might be smacking their computers over right now because I haven't said it yet. Who cares if I haven't said it?
Oh my God.
If you already knew it, why'd you care so much? Well, for the benefit of people who weren't following TNA, this whole storyline of Kurt's marriage falling apart was actually real. Well, minus the AJ Styles part. Kurt and Karen were having big problems, and in October 2008 their divorce was finalised. What happened next can only be described as one of the most real-life wrestling storylines in wrestling history. How Kurt went along with all this stuff is beyond me. A wild slapnuts appears. Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
Double J, baby.
Jeff Jarrett returned after a long spell away to start a personal feud with Angle. Kurt was the heel in this feud and kept threatening Jarrett's kids. They had a cracker of a match at Bound for Glory 2008. Around this time, Kurt got his own faction, the Main Event Mafia, where he was given the nickname The Godfather. Then one of the most famous Perc Angle matches happened against the Idiot Abyss. This match proved that Kurt Angle could even work the hardcore style. It's not exactly surprising, he was such a crazy bastard.
Here
at
we
this
go,
point.
baby.
We
Look
got
at
the
him.
senton off the stage onto Abyss, and we also got a moonsault on top of the steel chair, amongst other things.
Come on now. You can't stop this.
Jarrett
man.
and Angle had an even better match at Genesis.
And Abyss is such a trooper, bro. Abyss is truly one of the pillars of TNA, bro, because that dude was willing to go through a lot of shit for TNA. Like, no cap about it, man.
2008, with the highlight being an Angle slam off the ramp through a table.
Ooh,
Kurt feuded on and
he
off
fell-
with
he
Jarrett
did
until
not
about
hit that
6 months
table.
before the Hawk flew into TNA in 2010. But something happened to get rid of Jarrett and end the feud for now. So it turned out that Karen was actually with Jeff Jarrett for real. The news
What?
got out that Karen and Jeff had got close through one of the many TNA late night drinking sessions. They'd fallen in love and moved in together. Jarrett was exiled from TNA with Karen, but Kurt, well, he did what Kurt does best. He carried on wrestling. What else would he do? In fact, he wrestled
Damn.
more than ever after this.
Oh, bro, that's kind of sad. That's what a trooper and sad at the same time. Like, I would ask for time off, bro. Honestly, if like my life isn't that big of a turmoil, I'd definitely ask for time off. But some people find different ways to, let that
As
out.
the leader of the Main Event Mafia, he mostly had an inner Mafia feud with Sting and the newly debuted Mick Foley. Obviously, the match quality
bang.
went down a bit at this time. The Mafia feuded with the TNA frontline in a one-sided feud. The Mafia were fighting a war of respect, and they certainly won it. I don't need to go into all of this because it's honestly a waste of time. Sting was the TNA World Champion for the majority of the Mafia's run, which eventually caused friction with Angle. Kurt Angle captured the world title yet again in the middle of 2009, meaning
Nice.
Kurt was not only the Godfather, but also the World Champion. Angle would drop the belt to AJ Styles after 91 days, probably his weakest
Just too
reign as
good.
champion.
Just too good, bro.
Around this time, Kurt looked skinnier than ever and grew his beard and hair out. It must have been hard carrying a company on
Damn, bro. I mean, look at my boy. Look at the eyes, bruh. Like, it's just, man, it's rough out there. It's rough to do all this, man.
your
It's
back
kinda-
when everything has gone to hell in your life. One of the best periods of Kurt Angle in TNA was towards the end of 2009 when Desmond Wolfe appeared in TNA. They feuded straight away with Wolfe actually looking like he had a chance. Now these two pay-per-view matches against Desmond Wolfe are both technical masterpieces, and anyone who missed them, check them out. They're both 4 to 5 star matches.
Okay. I can't remember.
He then
honestly.
moved on to a feud with the recently debuted Mr. Anderson, and yet again Kurt Angle knocked it out the park. Kurt was now a clear
Mr.
babyface. He
Anderson?
feuded with Anderson because he kept insulting the US Army. It sounds kind of boring,
Damn.
but it wasn't. It got really personal. The story revolved around a dog tag that a soldier gave Kurt Angle, and
Oh,
Anderson
shit.
kept using it to bloody him up. They first had a ladder match on Impact, and while this was great for an Impact match, the best was certainly yet to come. They
Come
clashed
on
at
now.
Lockdown 2010 in the cage, and this is probably my favourite TNA match of all time.
Oh yeah, well,
Both guys' character work here was A-star acting. I've
Oh,
never brought into a feud so much. The hatred felt real. And this added to the match quality as well. Kurt destroyed Anderson
a
in this
German
one. He
off
even hit
the
the
ro-
Perc
there it
drop
is.
off the top of the steel cage.
oh,
He had several
my
chances to
God.
leave the cage, but didn't feel that Anderson had learnt his lesson. In the end, he ended the match in a way a personal feud full of hatred could be expected to end. Spitting in Anderson's face and stomping on his nutsack. Kurt Angle was
oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. That's amazing. I do not remember that.
expected to end. Spitting in Anderson's face and stomping on his nutsack.
That's gonna be the new way you gotta finish off people, bro. If you're gonna finish a feud off, that's the way you gotta do it. I better see The Rock do this to Roman Reigns. Okay, there's no other way to finish that. No way, bro. That's hilarious.
Kurt Angle was surprisingly low-key during Hogan's initial TNA run, as they chose instead to focus on Hardy, RVD, Styles, and Abyss. It's possible that Kurt was trying to get his house in order around this time. After this, Kurt Angle started chasing the world title again. He had a 30-minute match with
Oh, here we
Hardy
go.
and No Surrender. What's clear by this point is most people seem to have their best TNA matches with Kurt Angle, and his name was one you looked out for on a pay-per-view card. The
Damn.
match was ruled as a draw after 30 minutes. Kurt's determination to recapture the TNA World title would have to wait, as a wild Slapnuts reappeared in TNA.
Oh, Jeff
Except
Jarrett.
this time, he was with Karen. They were now married, so we were introduced to Karen Jarrett for the Nah,
Nah, bruh. I'd fuck this dude up. I'm not gonna lie. The fact that you're still you come back and do this in my face, right? The audacity is crazy, bro. Like every time I see you, it's gonna be an on-site smack, backhand, front hand, and a spit. I'm gonna end you like I did Mr. Anderson. That's what I would do every day. Like, nah, it's disrespect.
The fact that Kurt had the restraint not to tear Jarrett apart has always surprised me.
That's
to this
so
day.
true.
He also had to stand in the ring face to face with his ex-wife as the camera awkwardly searched around for drama for 30 seconds. Can you imagine having to do this with an ex?
Nah.
It's hard enough seeing an ex again after you break up, but to be staring them in the eye on TV for a long time like that, man, what a punch to the gut.
Yeah, for real.
Kurt and Slapnuts would wrestle in 5 singles matches over the coming months. Against all odds, they had their first proper match, which had constant interference from Karen Jarrett. Slappy won the match with the stipulation being that Kurt would now need to walk his ex-wife down the aisle as Karen and Jeff renewed their wedding vows.
No.
Okay, I take it back.
No.
That last thing was hard, but it's
That
another
is-
level, man. Kurt is a bigger man than...
There's so much pain behind this man's face right now. So much pain. Why would you let... Who wrote this? Why would you be okay with this? Who greenlit this? Nah, that's cold. That's cold.
the Hawk. Kurt did get to ruin the ceremony once, but then they held it again without trouble. Unfortunately, no AJ Styles this time, and Kurt just watched on with an expression on his face that was hard to read. Jeff said things during the reading of the vows such as how Karen's now married to a real man, and Karen talked about how good their sex life is.
Nah.
Within weeks, Angle was arrested again after being found passed out in his car on the median. When he made it home, he didn't have the key to get in. Always wanted to say the word medium and never had the chance. There
That's
we go.
so cold.
Look, this storyline with Jeff and his ex-wife clearly wasn't doing any good for him.
Yep.
TNA and the Jarretts have to be held accountable for this because the proof is in the pudding. If you were a decent person, you'd be able to see that Kurt was hurting and terminate this storyline now. But hey,
Thank
they
you.
didn't. Instead, they decided to start involving the kids that Karen had with Kurt. Karen rubbed Kurt's face in it and said they were now Jeff's kids. The whole time in real life they were living with Jeff. So you know for sure this kicked Angle even more whilst he was down.
Really? Not the kids. Like, it's all fun and games. All right. There's only so much someone should take. But once your kids are involved, that's when it's like, it gets too old. That's when you gotta take it there for real. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. You gotta take it there. Bro. Look, that's crazy, bro. It's not even funny to me, bro. That's fucked up, bro.
Kurt and Jarrett clashed again at Lockdown 2011 in a 2 out of 3 falls cage match. Kurt almost died several times in this matchup. There was a botched top rope powerbomb where it looked like Kurt was spiked on his neck. And of course the Perc drop off the cage that barely connected.
Let's go.
Loved this match, but everything that was going on in Angle's life, it felt like he didn't care if he...
Yeah, I would have made it personal. I would have connected my knees straight to the boy's groin. I would have hit... My shot would have been straight to the balls, bro. Like, it would have been on some Hawkeye, on some Deadshot level accuracy.
he lived or died. Jarrett won the match again thanks to cheating. After this, Karen ended up getting knocked down some stairs, which led to Kurt winning the next pay-per-view clash against Jarrett at Slammiversary. Kurt then finalised the feud after beating Jarrett up in a parking lot brawl, which banished Slapnuts to Mexico where he belongs. So what's next now that Slapnuts and his bitch ex-wife are gone?
I wish they would bring that
Kurt
type
won
of
his
match
world title
back where you
from
have like
Stinger,
all the
but the next
cars
month he was arrested
circling you.
again whilst holding the main title in TNA. Once again, it was for driving under the influence.
Big
How
Show.
does this man still have a driving license at this point? Are they really that lenient in the US or something?
He's Kurt freaking
Whilst
Angle.
this was going on, the Bound for Glory series was taking place. This was a long-running point-scoring tournament, and Robert Roode had surprised everyone and won the whole thing. He would go up against Angle, who played his part really well. He was the world champion with hundreds of main events to his name, and Roode was essentially a nobody compared to Angle. Kurt Angle looks seriously ill at this point, although I'm told he'd slimmed down for a movie role here, presumably to play the part of a homeless crackhead. Looks aside, Kurt still had the goods in the ring. Angle did almost die again in this match from an overhead suplex on his neck again. Probably
Bro's really good at his job, man. Kurt Angle's really good. Look
Angle
at this. Right there. Like, he makes sure he lands at his shoulder first angle. Like, me, I'm a complete dumbass. I would have landed straight into the head first into the mat. I would have had, like, you would have seen my body just straight, just spiked into the mat. Like, He's so good at
He'd
his
almost
job.
die again in this match from an overhead suplex on his neck again. Probably Robert Roode's best TNA match up to this point, but he didn't win and the internet was in outrage. The next night, James Storm beat Kurt Angle with the last call super kick for the world title only a minute into the match. So in the end, the internet got what they wanted, I guess.
Okay,
Storm
Austin.
proved it wasn't a fluke and he beat Kurt a second time on pay-per-view. After that, there wasn't that much left for Perc Angle, who was in a feud with Jeff Hardy because he was jealous that his son liked Jeff Hardy's stupid armbands. I'm not kidding. After that, Kurt briefly feuded with AJ Styles again. They had an excellent pay-per-view match, but it was more of a friendly rivalry kind of match. They then captured the World Tag Team titles, and they had a good match at both Slammiversary and No Surrender 2012. They would lose their titles on Impact to Daniels and Kazarian. Then they had an excellent triple threat match at Bound for Glory.
AJ. Chill
but
out, bro.
Unfortunately, they lost the match to Chavo Guerrero. They were trying to rip off LAX again. Okay, it was actually Chavo's best TNA match, so hit me with a brick. The Aces and Eights storyline then started, which was a big storyline in TNA. It was a big group of masked bikers invading TNA and nobody knew who they were.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really like the Aces and Eights whole entire story arc. I thought it was kind of eh. Yeah, it was. You could tell who it was immediately.
As Kurt wasn't a champion at this time, he had nothing better to do and was pretty much the leader of the TNA locker room against the bikers. Needless to say that all of the matches they had sucked. Every single one of them. I have nothing positive to say about any. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
The guys he was facing were all terrible and it was made worse by them wearing a mask. It was impossible to care about Kurt Angle versus a large masked man on pay-per-view. TNA was running this thing called Gut Check, where jobbers from the indies could come into TNA and try to wrestle for a chance at a TNA contract. It was revealed that Kurt Angle somehow had a friendship with Wes Pisco.
I don't know.
I thought I was going to get through this year without having to mention the guy again. Maybe at 100k subscribers, but not until Graceland. Kurt vouched for Wes and told TNA management what a great wrestler Wes was. He helped him get through the door in TNA through the Gut Check program. Despite Kurt Angle vouching for Wes, it turned out that he was a member of the Aces and Eights. He turned on Kurt Angle. What an ungrateful little piss face. They actually had a pay-per-view match at Lockdown 2013. Kurt Angle versus Wes Pisco. This ended Kurt Angle's amazing run of matches at Lockdown. The match was boring, and luckily Kurt Angle focused on working safe and helping the Green Pisco through the match.
Oh yeah, you could tell him.
You
can tell he was like kind of directing him. Like, all right, he told him right here. He probably told him like, all right, here we go, ready, 1,
and
2,
luckily Kurt
3.
Angle focused on working safe and helping the Green Pisco through the match.
Yeah,
there were no cage perk drops to be found in this one. D'Lo Brown interfered in 2013, and he caused Wes Pisco to beat Kurt Angle. Moving on quickly. Yeah. Honestly, you can skip the entire first half of 2013 Kurt Angle. You know you suck if Kurt Angle can't even get a good match out of you. One last match to talk about. The only good match in the first half of 2013.
Okay.
Kurt Angle versus AJ Styles, who was doing his emo gimmick. He didn't want to help with the Aces and Eights, and Kurt took offense with this. This is a good strong style match with AJ playing a different character to usual. It's completely different to their other matches.
Come on,
easily
AJ,
the best
chill out,
Angle
bro.
match for a long time at this point.
Oh, never mind.
This would lead me to think that there was obviously something up with Angle, other than how much the Aces and Eights sucked. And he was then proven to still be having personal struggles. He was arrested again for drink driving in August 2013, and Kurt finally decided enough was enough, and he checked himself into rehab, thus putting an end to Perc Angle.
Oh man.
Surprisingly, Kurt broke his neck 4 times in the WWE, but despite all the crazy stuff he did in TNA, he never broke his neck there.
Oh,
so Kurt on a Perc had some sort of invincibility. In TNA, he had some of the best matches of his entire career. There are several on here that belong in his top 10 of all time. Do not overlook them just because they're in TNA. Kurt gave several wrestlers their best TNA matches. Matt Morgan, Wes Briscoe, Chavo Guerrero, Desmond Wolfe, Mr. Anderson. I mean, the list is endless.
Definitely, that's so true.
Angle describes himself as a functioning drug addict, and that certainly seemed to be the case. A lot of people did their best work on drugs, and I'm not condoning that in any way, it's just a fact. When you no longer care, you can do your best work. You work without pressure. It's a miracle Angle didn't die in TNA.
One last thing I didn't really get to mention on a serious note. Apparently the reason that Kurt Angle stayed such a wrestling machine is because he felt like he'd lost everything else in his life and he thought that wrestling was the only thing he could succeed at, so he had to be the best.
And that right there is so deep. Man, imagine feeling like you lose everything but that one thing. You're going to hold on to dear life, bro. It's like you're at the cliff, you're holding on, and like the grip strength is wrestling, and the fall is like, wow. that's deep, bro.
If I missed any Perc ankle moments out, what was your favourite Perc ankle moment, and what did you think of his TNA run after he cleaned himself up? And if you didn't like Perc ankle, I'll grab your arm and put it through the mangle.
Thank you.
Yeah, because apparently we're back in the 1880s. You could shove it, you dumb fuck. The Hawk is top three all day, you goon. If I come to Lev and shoot me, I'll come on my own, because no one likes you.
What the fuck, bro?
Shoves. Squad.
Yo, W video. Amazing, amazing video. You know, something that always will bother me, and this is no offense to like Baron Corbin or anything, but damn, bro, I wish Kurt Angle's last match would have been against either AJ Styles, John Cena, who I had someone else, Brock Lesnar. I wish it was with like someone that he had an extended rivalry with, right? AJ Styles would have been the perfect closer. But unfortunately, we got Baron Corbin, and you know, Baron Corbin's cool, I guess, but it hurts. It hurts to see that, bro. I wish he would have finished off on the bigger end. And yeah, man. Also, TNA till this day still has one of the all-time greatest promo ever, right? And that would be Ric Flair and Jay Lethal. Those two, that greatest promo of all time.
I want to see it. Well, Flair's got one shoe on, by the way. See it? Yeah. You want to see it? Yeah. Watch this. You want to know what she told me? She said, hey, I tried the old guy. Young guys are much faster, stronger, hey, and there's 60-minute men, Daddy. Wow! 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 She told me, you don't know what 60 minutes is.
I don't care what anyone says. TNA, it still owns the greatest promo till this day. But anyway, I'm glad TNA's back also. So anyway, W video, Marky D123. Thank you for the video. Have a great one.